Science na about technology, and we don use the technology take operate our administration. Obaseki na im talk this one. Edo State Governor Godwin Obaseki don talk say the state go produce 15,000 software engineers for the next 5 years. He talk this one when he meet with stakeholders for science and technology to help develop government policy for science, technology and innovation wey dey for line with government agenda wey be make Edo great again mega wey shele for John Odike Oyegun Public Service Academy on Tuesday, June 14, 2022. Governor Obaseki come talk say im admin dey promote innovation and technology make development for entire Edo State. Say technology don help school children sabi book through the Edo Best program. E come yarn say as power don tanda through Oshomo power plant, the state don be electricity hub and dis go help develop technology.
I'm delighted to be with you on this interactive session, which has been organized by the Ministry of Science and Technology and the Committee on Science, Technology and Innovation, which we set up to provide guidance and direction as we place technology at the centerpiece of our processes, systems, and structure. It is a pleasure to have respected scientists, academicians, researchers, medical doctors, and other scholars gathered today here in this room. We are confident that the deliberations which you will have today will provide perspectives, insights, and valuable inputs to properly position our state as a forerunner in the fourth industrial revolution, which is being driven by science, technology, engineering, and mathematics STEM. The place and impact of technology in our daily lives is undeniable. Life is science, and science is now our life. Nations that have harnessed the power of science and technology continue to advance in the cause of mankind and dominate their counterparts that have been unable to get around anchoring their development aspirations on a strong technology footing. He has shown and demonstrated that the Benin Empire became dominant because of that inquisition and that acknowledgement of innovation and technology at that time. In Edo State, we're already pursuing ambitious tech-driven projects across different segments, and our aspiration is to continue to top the national charts. One of these areas is the implementation of e-governance, using technology to drive government. And it's quite fortuitous that this building houses our ICT agency that has the responsibility to use science and technology, particularly technology, to help us reorganize the way government runs and functions. And we're glad that the nation is beginning to acknowledge this by some of the accolades which we have been receiving. The e-governance system ensures not only a paperless system, not just faster and efficient processes, but also it helps us reset the way government works. And if we do not do that, we cannot drive development at the rate that we intend to. In the education sector, we have demonstrated, through Edo Best, that technology can be a catalyst in improving learning for our children. Today, having trained over 15,000 teachers and equipping them with tablets, they can do and are doing all that's required to make our children learn. With their tablets, I can tell from my office which teacher is in class. And if the teacher is not in class, The child cannot learn. We can tell which teacher has completed their lesson notes on any particular day. No wonder the result is that a child in a public school in Edo State today, after one term, is able to read and write at about 70% of his peer in Europe or Asia. We are also leading systematic change in technical and vocational education and training, TVET, in Edo State. Not just by our desire to build about 20 technical schools across the state, but in rethinking our educational system, which now emphasizes that at the end of your basic education training, JSS 3, every child, every student should be prepared mentally to pick up a vocation or also to be technically oriented, so that we can begin to move our society from where in which we just depend on paper degrees and paper certificates to one in which people are trained to be inquisitive and to use their hands in building the things they need to live with. Tremendous work has been achieved with capacity building innovation and technology space that has ensured that not less than 100,000 youths are equipped with on-demand skills, because through Edo State Skills Development Agency, Edo Jobs, an amazing amount of work has been done, right? Either working with young people in agriculture, in the innovation hubs, in our creative centers, where they have been taught using digital tools to either employ themselves or awaken their entrepreneurial spirits so that they can go out there in the marketplace to engage themselves. Our goal in Edo that within the next 5 years, we will produce in this state nothing less than 15,000 well-trained, world-standard software engineers. We have started from our temporary tech park site, and we're going to be admitting the third cohort in August. And the experience from the first two cohorts showed that every person who's completed that program is automatically employed, and most of the time they're working for global companies from Benin City here. So we are making concerted efforts to make sure that we train a large body of young minds, because they will be the foundation on which our future technological drive will rest. With all these activities happening in different nodes across the states, it is pertinent to have a concise, articulate, and target-driven policy and roadmap that will bring all of these innovations together so that we can build durable structures and systems for sustainability and expansion. We are fortunate in Edo to be also an electricity hub, and we hope to capitalize on that advantage. So the elements are there. We have no doubt that if anybody is going to get it right in this country today, it is Edo State and Edo people.
Oga Patapata for Hairs, Oil and Gas, Usayan Deke Honwe Yan say Edo government don't create better foundation for technology to develop for the state. Koyan the Ubunke things where government fit put hand to make science, technology and innovation better for Nigeria.
In less than 3 months, we doubled the oil production, and in less than 6-7 months, we doubled the gas production. We are struggling with the crude theft that everybody is hearing about, but what we've achieved with those fields is testament to the capability and innovation that an all-Nigerian company, we don't have any expertise in our company, has been able to do in the oil and gas industry, which hitherto was not thought possible. So if I then move on to start talking a bit around the subject of the day. So people use the word science, technology, innovation, and it's good to kind of understand, what are these different things. It means different things to different people, and the intention here is not to give an academic treatise, but it's just to discuss it broadly. And so, science will be taken as, for different people, but if you take a simple definition, it's as stated there, and it talks about unbiased observations, systematic experimentation, a pursuit of knowledge to develop theories around what happens around us. Then you then say, what is technology? Another simple definition is that it's the application of scientific knowledge to address the practical aims of life. Yeah, so it's not just the theory, but it's how do you translate that theory to something that impacts human lives, improves lives, solves problems, or creates new paradigms. And it's, to some people, it's also about the change and manipulation of the human environment. The human environment is in a certain condition. How do you change it or manipulate it to a different state, most often than not a desirable state? And that's why we're in this building. At some point in time, historically, everybody was in the outside. There were different evolutions of building technology, and today we're in buildings and with air conditioners to create a condition that is suitable and conducive for us to live. And then you then say, what is innovation? So innovation is really around the way, or it's defined, one way of looking at it, is around creating a new way of doing something. Whether it is something that is concrete, so as to, I'm trying to build a computer, or it is something that is abstract as to the way things are done. So you look at it today and realize that there is a lot of focus on technology and innovation around being hardware. But even software and the way things are done, policies, workflows, all of that is technology. So there are companies today, knowledge-based companies today, that actually provide technology, or what their raison d'etre of being in business is around providing software and workflows that create value for their clients. So if I come back to science, broadly, science is around inorganic, so materials is about organic, the human bodies or animal, and then it's around social sciences, which is the way humans interact. So if you spread that through, you'll find out that technology also is not only about inorganic, but they are also it also applies to organic, and it applies to social systems as well as innovation. So in my mind, the way I think of it simply is that science is the theory, technology produces the products or the tools, and innovation is the way it is delivered to ensure that it makes impact on our lives. If you then look at the effort of industrialization, the world has gone through different phases. And in these phases, we should also look in it and ask ourselves, which part of it did we take part in, and where may there be gaps? And I think in that context, where there may be gaps, may present for us the opportunities for the future. Not around creating technology that has already been created, but no, around innovating so that we can leapfrog and be ahead of the game for this generation. There's a whole discussion as to, are we in the digital age, or have we gone beyond the digital age? It's not about correctness, it's just around sharing thoughts around this. And the advent of computers and the speed that has been attained by computers has dramatically changed the way things are. Even when I was in university, we still had mainframe computers in Uniben, and there were no laptops, no desktops. And I just think about it, a few decades later, the phone, the processing power of a phone is more than the mainframe. It's more than the processing power of the mainframe that I studied with in Uniben, with the cards where you have to program and stuff like that. So it just changed everything. So there's a conversation ongoing that we're in the imagination age, where, with the growth of internet, social media, smart manufacturing, and potentially autonomous cars that drive themselves, that you are going from a world that kind of you have to interact with, to a world that actually interacts with itself, and you are just like a passenger in it. So there are lots of different evolutions. So as I mentioned, this is not really around the theoretical element, but to just ask ourselves, so where are we in all of this? Yeah, and where do we want to be? Because it's very important that that assessment is made, because in my own life and what I can see when I read the mega document is that success will come in an ambition or destination-led journey rather than an effort-led journey. So if we think about it and say, okay, so where are we? If we now bring it back, come and say in Nigeria, there's been huge technology advancements and innovations in the past 2 decades. I mean, it's because sometimes when we are part of it, we do not note it as much, but there's been transformation in practically every sector in the economy. So the advancements and the capabilities that our banks have today, in terms of how portable it is to do transactions, to make transfers and stuff, is so advanced that some of the Western countries are only catching up. And that was a feature of the fact that we had nothing. So when some of these things came, we did not go through the pathway of first going through those paradigms that happened, and we leapfrogged. We have seen significant advancements in financial services and digitalization. We've seen advancements in medicine. We've seen advancements in agriculture. So, I mean, if you think about, if I recall, the way fertilizer is being distributed, that was put in place by the current president of the AFDB when he was minister for Obasanjo, revolutionized how we deliver fertilizer to farmers. For the Nigerian Innovation Summit, who were the winners? What kind of sector are we seeing innovation? And it's across the board. So there is fintech, there is edtech, education, there is health tech, health technology, there's mobility, there's energy, there's the ecosystem, there's finance, and there was general awards. So, there's always the temptation to think that when we talk about technology and innovation today, a lot of focus is on, what you do with, digital, with mobile telephony. But actually, technology and innovation is in every human endeavor. The key thing is that technology and innovation is about addressing all practical forms of life to make an impact. If we then come to Edo State, the civil service reforms, even this beautiful building we are in, if you tell anyone in Nigeria that you have this quality of facility to train the civil servants, they will ask you. It's a world-class facility, and it's quite impressive. The concept of the production center, trying to address the needs to have reliable power from a cluster of people working together, is another idea I found very powerful. Edo Best, what we are doing with education, the work being done on the government buildings and the agency which was just formed to ensure the maintenance, because I know the person was appointed to lead that. The work that has been done on land registration and C of Os. And when the chairman of the committee was talking, I even realized that there were more that I was not aware of. Edo Jobs, Edo Innovation Hubs, Edo Tech Park, and then the whole concept of having a laptop in the hand of every civil and public servant, I think are all very commendable examples. So we are not starting from scratch. And I think it's very important that as a committee, as you begin to think about the way forward, there is a clear acknowledgement of what has been done, which needs to be sustained till they deliver the value, and then what additional needs to be done. And I think in that context, I've then said, so where do I see should be the key areas of focus for science, technology, and innovation as you begin to craft out your policy. So I referenced this back to make Edo great again, because there needed to be an anchor. I like to work towards an objective. And for me, the objective as stated in the mega resonates with me, to be the best state to live and to prosper. And 6 pillars were identified there: governance reforms, citizen-centric leadership, government as an enabler, technology and data-driven governance, large-scale sustainable economy, building and digital infrastructure. So when you reflect on all of that and you then say, on the broadest sense, what should be the imperatives for science, technology, and innovation? The 4 foundations that you see at the bottom is where I present as my own contribution. And it's not like unique contribution that is not being done, but it's a lot of things being done, maybe a few things to throw some focus on. So policy is very important, and I think policy or legislation, as the case maybe from a public sector, is very key. But I think sustainable execution is what will make the difference between whether you have an idea or it will make an impact. Execution and sustainable execution is what will make the difference. Any society that does not seek to be better and take the necessary features and steps to be better and take the risks to be better will not be ahead. So I think that in some sense, as a people, as a country, we've been static in many different things. I mean, some people will tell you that we are in a bubble that was created post-Civil War, and that has driven everything. So I do think that we need to deliberately embrace technology, deliberately embrace innovation, and say that we want our lives to be better, and we're going to use all the tools available to us to be better, and not be held back by this is the way it has been done.
Ebu Sereme Obinome, TMC TV News.